the face of these challenges that we are launching this new program today, Democracy and Digital Innovation. Democracy and digital innovation programs aim to promote new information and communication technologies, social networks, innovative technology, and artificial intelligence to strengthen the civic and political engagement of young people and women, the empowerment and accountability of political actors. This program is mainly aimed at young people and consists of training them in the creation of innovative digital content for the promotion of democracy and good governance in East Africa and generally in all the continent. Through the creation of innovative digital content on digital platforms and various networks, the objective of this program is to, first, contribute to the promotion of democracy and the defense of political and public freedom in Africa. Second, promote virtuous use of the internet, social media, and artificial intelligence. Thirdly, strengthen the capacity of actors and associations in the sub-region by showing them how digital innovation, the creation of innovative content through podcasts, blogs, pages, and social networks can be used to promote democracy, leadership of service, responsibility, accountability, art for advocacy, good governance, and rule of law. In welcoming you once again and thanking everyone for their participation in this day of reflection, I hope that our young laboratory will continue to benefit from your expertise and support. Thank you, and I wish to all of you a wonderful working day.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think before we proceed, as is the custom, I don't know where it was written, that we should perhaps begin with a playing of the national anthem, and then I will give my remarks.
O God of all creation, blessed is our nation. Justice be our shield and defender. May we live in unity, peace and liberty. Plenty be found within our borders. Ilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you. You can be seated. To begin with, our hosts, Dr. Jean Mark, the Regional Coordinator, Dr. Richard Macon, representative of the General Director of IFD, our CEO for the Media Council, David Omoyo, our Chairperson ICJ Kenya Council, Rota Saende, our keynote speaker, Dr. Keret, partners, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to convey apologies from our executive director. As you're aware, today is Katiba Day, and there are so many, we are very many here. So Katiba Day is when we are celebrating 15 years of the Kenyan Constitution, the promulgation of the Constitution. And there are so many events going on at the same time. And so he couldn't be here, but he sends his regards. Distinguished guests, colleagues and friends, on behalf of ICJ Kenya, it is an honor to collaborate with the Innovation Foundation for Democracy as it establishes its presence in Eastern Africa via the Digital Innovation Hub. This partnership is an affirmation of our shared commitment to advancing democratic governance in an era where innovation, inclusivity, and resilience are indispensable. The digital transformation unfolding across our region is profound. Social media, mobile penetration, proliferation of digital public infrastructure, the availability of the internet, emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence are redefining civic participation. These tools have created new pathways for women and the youth and other people to meaningfully engage in decision-making and strengthen democratic processes. Yet, we must also contend with the serious threats. Algorithm-assisted disinformation and misinformation, online division, harassment that undermines public trust and dialogue are some of the concerns that we see. Our collaboration is therefore not only timely but urgent. Together, we can drive research, dialogue, and action that safeguards civic space and ensures technology serves democracy and not disrupt it. This initiative will thrive on cross-border collaboration, north-south and south-to-south collaboration drawing on global insights while remaining deeply anchored in our African identity. In this way, our collective efforts will contribute to building resilient democracies that embrace innovation without sacrificing integrity. We are confident that this partnership will catalyze positive change, and we look forward to working together to secure a future where technology enhances democratic governance and civic participation for all. I do thank you all.
Thank you so much, Dimas. Another round of applause. It is now my distinguished honor to invite Dr. Jean-Marc Segun, our Director of Operations and Programs. Welcome, Jean-Marc. The clap needs to be a bit louder. He came in at 2 a.m. this morning.
Thank you, Sheptun. Dear Director of Organization, dear Board Member of ICG Kenya, dear Deputy Director of ICG Kenya, my brother Demas, dear colleagues of Innovation Foundation for Democracy, dear ladies and gentlemen, good morning. On behalf of the General Director of Innovation Foundation for Democracy, I would like to convey the thanks and gratitude of Professor Achille Bembe. The professor extends his encouragement and thanks to the entire ICG team and to the partners who have been with us since the official launch of our laboratory in Oriental Africa. Africa on 2 July. The Innovation Foundation for Democracy is a Pan-African organization with 5 regional offices called laboratories, including the headquarters in Johannesburg in South Africa. We have 5 laboratories, one of which is the Eastern Laboratory that is hosting us today and is hosted by ICG Kenya. The foundation has several programs on the continent, including teaching democracy in African university and high school, a gender strategy that is implemented with various activities, including capacity building of women, political leadership, women's camps, programs such as finance of several cohorts of initiatives in Africa, extensive ethnographic research on endogenous democracy in Africa. We have just completed the opening of our last laboratory on the continent in East Africa and Portuguese-speaking Africa. And the foundation now covers the entire African continent. The General Director of the foundation hopes that this program on democracy and digital technology will open the new avenue of reflection on innovation on the field for the activists and will improve our community program. I would like to thank you and wish you an excellent Reflection Day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jean-Marc. It's now my distinguished honor to invite the chairperson of the Kenyan section of the International Commission of Juries, Mr. Protas Saende. Thank you.
Dr. Keretz Macau, Dr. Mark, Dr. Richard Macon, distinguished guests, and before that, I also acknowledge Mr. David Omoyo, the CEO, Media Council of Kenya, was also the president of World Association of Press Councils, which I congratulate you for that position. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Now, we are here this morning on behalf of ICJ Kenya Council and the entire ICJ Kenya family at large. I welcome you to the launch of the Democracy and Digital Innovation Program for Innovation Foundation for Democracy. And as mentioned by Dr. Macon, we recently launched the Oriental Lab and formally signed the agreement between ICJ Kenya and the foundation in July this year. And this was a historic moment. The forum brought together academic luminaries, activists, thought leaders in the fields of justice and democracy to discuss the pressing issues affecting democracy in the region at the moment. It was a successful engagement, and today is a testament to our fruitful partnership. So for much of the 20th century, the political narrative in many African countries was tightly controlled. Information flowed from the top down, often through state-owned media, and public participation was largely confined to formal institutional channels. The ability of citizens to directly question, observe, and influence their leaders was limited by physical distance and the lack of access to independent information. However, in the early 2000s, a revolution began. We got not a revolution of armies, but of information. The arrival of the internet, followed by the explosion of social media and mobile technology, fundamentally reshaped our world. And nowhere has this transformation been more prolific than in Africa, where mobile phone penetration has gone over and above traditional infrastructure, putting the power of connectivity directly into the hands of ordinary people. The youth in Africa have not simply adopted these technologies for entertainment or commerce. They have integrated them into the very fabric of their civic lives. They're using Twitter to track parliamentary debates, WhatsApp groups to organize local community meetings, and mobile apps to report issues with public services. They are no longer just passive recipients of governance. They are active monitors, fact checkers, and participants. This shift has made politics more immediate, more transparent, and more accountable. A policy decision in a government office can now be debated by thousands on social media in a matter of minutes. An elected official who has made a promise on a campaign trail can instantly be checked against their actions. This new shift of real-time monitoring and public engagement is building a new form of digital democracy, one that is truly of the people, by the people, and for the people. ICJ Kenya recognizes this change. One of the key pillars in the revised strategic plan by ICJ Kenya is a theme on digital rights and inclusive transformation. The theme highlights the importance of digital technologies, platforms in promoting civic and political rights, as well as economic and social rights. It recognizes how digital public infrastructure and digital public goods can provide economic opportunities and social services more safely, efficiently, and inclusively. ICJ Kenya aims to prioritize accountability, human rights, safety, and inclusion in all digital efforts. As we begin the meeting, I wish you all fruitful deliberations, and may today's discussions shed more light on the role of digital innovations in the democratic space we hold so dear. May God bless you all. Thank you. I would now wish to invite Mr. David Omoyo to make some brief remarks before our keynote speaker comes. So as I mentioned, Mr. David Omoyo is a CEO, Media Council of Kenya, and is also the president of the World Association of Press Councils and the chairperson of East African Press Councils.
Thank you very much, Chair. Good morning, all, and welcome to Nairobi for those who are coming from the rest of Africa, like Dr. Richard Makon, Jean-Marc Segun, and our own Dimas Chairman Protas and the key speaker. I have to really acknowledge and express my excitement about this matter of democracy and digital innovation. It is a challenging matter in the world, and when we see already thought leadership and practical action led by this partnership, we get very excited. The Oriental Laboratory in Eastern Africa, which I hope will work a lot together, and I hope that we'll have a few minutes with the Innovation Foundation for Democracy, is really a solution at a time when all of us know the challenge that we are facing. If any of you have interacted and seen the elections in the past few years, you've seen what misinformation, disinformation, and AI-generated and supported fake news can do to electoral processes. And if we find a way of using this partnership to ensure that there is truth and factual information in the campaign ecosystem and in the electoral ecosystem, we will have not only promoted democracy, but saved lives, because we live in a continent where electoral processes are very fragile and mostly don't get concluded. because of a contest or two, the election process don't get concluded. So if you engage in a process that ensures that the integrity of the process is restored, the integrity of the institutions thereof is restored, I think that will really help. And if you look at, as the chairman said, about now the ability of young people to use tools and hold those in power to account, now this digital innovation, that ability to collect promises, informations, data, and co-share them and fact-check them and ensure that they are factual will ensure stabilize countries, restore integrity of electoral bodies, and restore the integrity of the guys who get into office. Because if you are elected into office in a compromised election system, in a compromised system, then your legitimacy is really lowered, and eventually we are seeing a lot of increase in fragile countries in the continent. Fragile countries, unfortunately, they are not countries at war, but countries waiting for a spark to go to war. And if you look carefully, you realize that almost all of our countries, because we are basically unable to have smooth elections. So I think if you're going to engage in a process that is going to restore the integrity of electoral process, that will be not just a factor of restoring democracy, but ensuring the dignity of human life. And finally, a message from the Association of Press Councils. It is that I think the world needs to pause and reflect on the negative impact of fake news and misinformation. And now that we are getting into the era of digitally facilitated misinformation, where literally AI-powered misinformation can do anything. And we need to enhance partnership, because when you have such cases of misinformation and deliberate disinformation and all that, the only way to counter that in a democratic way is to make sure that we can be able to fact check and perpetuate more accurate voices. Because then in the absence of that, then we follow the undemocratic way of stifling innovation and stifling communication. So I hope that with this lab, because when I grew up in school, we were told that the work of laboratories is to research. And that I've seen that there is a word innovation. It means try to think of new ideas. So if you're going to research and think of new ideas and include young people and discuss democracy and discuss elections, considering also that we are getting into electoral cycles across the region, I hope that we are going to see more results, that we will have a clear strategy to counter misinformation, disinformation, and fake news, and ensure that we have more transparent electoral processes, more transparent democratic processes, and eventually a more stable continent of Africa. Thank you very much, and thank you for this partnership.
Sorry, Cheptum, if you allow me, can I invite our keynote speaker?
It's our pleasure.
Okay. So Dr. Monica Keretz Macau is our keynote speaker. She's Executive Director, Africa Initiatives, and a Professor of Practice, Thunderbird School of Management, Arizona State University. And apart from that, she has worked with the judiciary, Kenya judiciary, as a change advisor for transformation, and a former Chief Justice, Dr. Willy Mutunga, and also Professor Justice Joel Ngugi. She has also been part of leadership and governance training at ICJ Kenya, and she trains many government boards and private boards on governance issues. Welcome, Dr. Macau.
Thank you all. I'm a mwalimu, so allow me to start from reading a document to actually having a keynote. So welcome to today is an important day in our country, and I don't know whether for many of you that's important. But today, 15 years ago, this nation inaugurated or promulgated, is what we say in legal language, the Constitution of Kenya. And that Constitution says something that is so paramount to who we are as Kenyans and who we are as Africans. What does it say? We the people. I invite you to check on AI and tell me how many countries in the continent have in their constitution, we the people. Please check. Let's use technology for what it's meant to be used for. How many constitutions in this continent have something that says, we the people in their constitution in this continent? How many countries? How many? We the people. We take it for granted. How many? Come on, team. Somebody? Which countries are you getting on your AI chat search? I know the answers, so come on, tell me. Which ones? Yes. Who are they? Who's the first one? No, I said in Africa. Don't give me in the world. In Africa. In Africa. In Africa. Who do we have that says we the people? Do I have a legal team, in policy, legal, media people in this audience? South Africa. South Africa. Who else? Namibia. Angola. I think you can counter-check that one. I think AI might have done a bad search for you there. Who else? I invite us later on to do some homework about we the people. It's easy for us to use the word democracy. The next thing I'd like us to challenge us on. Democracy comes from the Greek terminology of what? Demokratas. Yeah, almost like Kiswahili. Demokratia. Which is what? Means what? People and what? Rule of law. The two words that combine to make us democracy. A word we often use without thinking about its significant meaning. Two words. We the people and democracy, which is about people and the rule of law. So as I stand here, and thank you for the invite, ICJ team, thank you for the chair and the team who is here. Protest, it's really nice to see you. It's been a while. I last trained the ICJ board on governance issues, and I've been part of Friends of the ICJ for many years. And so it's really glad to be here. I was sending messages to some of the judiciary judges today saying congratulations that we have a constitution. A number of years ago, in 2012, I joined the judiciary as a change advisor under Justice Willie Mutunga, and my role with Justice Joel Ngugi was to think through transformation in this country with our constitution, and I traveled throughout the whole country as we began to implement transformation in our constitution in this nation, something we take for granted. But let's reverse back 15 years ago. 15 years ago, I am about to turn 52 soon. So 15 years ago, I was how old? I don't have an issue with age, it's just a number. I was about 37, 36 I think it was. And I was at Strathmore Business School. And I went into class on that day, and I told my class to write a letter to themselves 25 years from now and 50 years from now about the meaning of the Constitution to them. And I said, write a letter to your future self, about what it means to have the Constitution. And I looked back, and my daughter is 16, turning 17, and I remembered she was about 2 years old then. You know, today she's 17. And what an interesting thing that today, if you are below 50 and you are in your 20s and you've seen this constitution come. So to us in Kenya, a big day. Let's congratulate ourselves and a clap for our constitution today. Happy Katiba Day to everybody. It is we the people. And digital technology makes we the people even more paramount. It shifts the conversation and the paradigm. Because for the first time in history, it is no longer a sentence of we the people for the sake of it. We the people can actually participate in the ideology of democracy because many people can have access to technology to actually speak their voice onto this very thing that we call democracy. We the people. So let's look for some reason, let's look at the continent of Africa. And my colleague here who spoke for me said a number of constitutions or countries of this continent are about to go through elections. Sadly, some of them, I mean, if you do use your AI chat box right now and see how many countries are about to do elections this year, 2025. And between 2025 and 2026, how many countries do we have in the continent about to do presidential elections? You will find there's quite a number. It's quite a number. Sadly, some of them, of course, not following democratic rule of law, in which we have one of the countries in our continent that's about to become president, I don't know, the 9th time. Yeah? Cameroon. Is that Cameroon? Are you from Cameroon? Yeah? President, I was trying to think if a president is going to become president for the 8th, is he running for the 8th term? If you're running for the 8th term, and your term of 5 years, how many years has he been in office? 40. Thinking, my goodness me, what a lost generation with one person. And we think of that in many parts of this continent. So as he highlighted on the concepts of democracy and where we are in Africa, let's look at this continent. And let's go around the continent from the top to the bottom. And I invite you to do it on your own Google chat and see where we are when it comes to actual democracy, when it comes to elections. One part of democracy is elections. It's just one part. It's not the only part of democracy, but it is one voice of it. A big part of it because it determines pretty much how the governance of a nation state goes. So as we begin to see what digital is going to do to democracy in this state, allow me then to highlight a few things that I'd like to say as I thought through the invite today on what does it mean to think about democracy and digital innovation and what's happening in the world around digital. And I thought, there's a few things I'd like to highlight. One, that for the first time in history, they're inseparable. And if you want to ignore technology, you no longer can. And so I invite us all to begin to say, how do we embrace technology for democracy? How do we allow the people to have a voice and to speak with a voice in the digital age? Our challenge is, and I want to highlight, that in the civil society, many times that voice is usually negative. It's usually negative. And I invite us to re-examine ourselves on this digital space and ask and say, how do we make a voice that provides pragmatic truth, balanced truth, both positive and both negative at the same time? We're able to say, this is being done well, when it's done well. And we say, this is not being done well. Here is a suggestion of what could be done better. This is how it could be done better. I fear that as I head into my 60s, and as I look backwards, I fear that many times our democracy online has become a shouting match. I fear that many times we seem to be going into a kickboxing ring, rather than a space that actually informs democracy and transparency and accountability. I fear that for many times, instead of us being able to say, this is not working, and here are suggestions. After all, we have the technology and the intellectual capital to be able to put together a set of suggestions. We have the technology and the intellectual capital, which means that we can also say it's not working, but we can use the word what? Hold on, there's an alternative to how things should work. How many times do we see that online? How many times do we see the alternative for what could work better? How many times do we see the intellectual amazing brains in this continent contributing to suggestions about what could work better and how? Because I tell you, that intellectual brain exists in this continent. They just haven't yet been rallied around the opportunity to provide meaningful suggestions. What we have rallied around is the opportunity to provide, hey, you are absolutely, completely in office in the wrong time, at the wrong place, and you should not be. And then we stop. And then we stop. And then it becomes, so what? So what if we put in lots of sets of disagreements? So what, my friends? It can only be meaningful if we add on to that so what a means of what? A means of suggestions. A means of saying, this is how it could. Look how it's working elsewhere. It's working there. Why does it not work here? How come it works in that space and not this space? How come it works in that, if I'm in Kenya, that county and not this county? It works in that county because they do the following. It doesn't work in this county because they are not doing the following. Data is meant to be meaningful. So I come to the second issue that I feel that we need to look at as we move forward. The fact that we need to think about how we are harnessing this data for transformation. Technology gives us the opportunity for so much data. So much data. But it's one thing to have the data. It's another thing to ensure that we are using that data. I tell my PhD students in class, I teach the PhD at Arizona State University, the DPP program, Doctorate of Professional Practice. And the first thing I tell them when they come in, I say, this class is about, we're going to use AI. We use AI in class. AI can help you mine lots of data if you understand algorithm data and you understand the back end about algorithm bias. But that's it. It just gives you the data. The next thing you have to figure out is how to make it transformative for the problem that is before you and the challenges before you. And so I challenge us, as we move forward, let's take this idea of digital and democracy to the next level. Beyond simply just stating facts, it's not working, it can't work, it shouldn't be, you shouldn't be here, to hold on a minute, these are the possibility of options that exist for us to be able to make meaningful progression and therefore to truly be democratic, we the people. I invite us to think about technology from a different perspective. I invite us to go to our Twitter pages and our Facebook pages, not to just bash, but to bash with some sense that you have some intellectual capital to make suggestions. Some intellectual capital to make choices of alternatives, to be able to say, it's not working, but hold on a minute, it could work if we did it this way. I invite us to think about transparency and accountability from different perspectives, because we seem to shout out that technology provides transparency and accountability. But have we seen it do so in the continent? Have we seen meaningful transformation because of utilizing technology? Meaningful transformation where we say X and Y have not done their work. We have enough data to show they don't even attend meetings in parliament. But yet, are we able to then take that data and transform it on the ground and ensure they never, ever get elected? Because we have the data that supports the reasoning why they should not be elected. How do we turn meaningful data to transformation? This is my invitation as we move forward, that we move from just thinking about the data and taking the data and harnessing it. I want to speak to the media. We have the Media Council here in the room. I invite us as the media to begin to harness the voices of we, the people. Not the people who work for media, but we, the people, down on the grassroots, to be able to send news in what's happening, directly from their own voices, in their own language, in their own style, and be able to bring in voices from we, the people in the continent. And we can hear we, the people, coming out from different parts of the continent, so that we can be able, we, the people, will work when we are able together as a whole, all multi-stakeholders, whether it is, because, we, the people, government is all of us. It's all of us, we, the people. And so I invite us, digital invites us to think about we, the people. There's lots out there. If you do a Google and search on what digital has done for democracy, you'll get a list. So I've chosen not to read for you something that you can read for yourselves online. I have instead chosen to ask us to challenge ourselves going forward. Where are we going? Is there going to be a day when I can actually look at data and compare it to what's on the ground in the continent, and I can say the data spoke and we actually did what was right for the data, and we made intellectual choices, or we made choices based on what the data was telling us, what we are harnessing in terms of technology, that we can hear the people's voices and we can speak and meet the people where they are. Nairobi isn't the place for the people. The people exist outside Nairobi. And I invite us to begin to think of many things, our meetings, if we're in Kenya, beyond Nairobi. I don't live in Nairobi. I came in very early this morning. And I thought to myself, from where I live, how many people even know today's Katiba Day? How many people understand the amazing thing that it is Katiba Day? Or in the continent, what the Constitution means. Are we really on the ground where the people are? Are we really in the peripherals of the city in high buildings? The people in this country and in Africa are not in cities. They are beyond the cities. They're out in the villages, working hard. Are we harnessing their voices? Are we harnessing politicians' voices and voices of people we consider with dignitaries? Are we looking to everybody and ensuring that when we say we the people, that we are allowing technology to finally harness that very opportunity for we the people? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Monica. Another round of applause, kindly. You've superseded my expectations. I expected something different, but this was amazing. Thank you so much. And thank you so much to everybody who's spoken this morning. I'd like to invite us to take a group photo. It'll be taken on the far right at the terrace of the hotel. And thereafter, we can have tea, coffee, and some snacks. Please use this opportunity to network and get to know your neighbor and somebody who's sitting across the room. Thank you once again to everybody who's flown into Nairobi. From Benin, we have people from Johannesburg, Strasbourg, Machakos, you know. So thank you so much, Nakuru. We have so many people from all over the country and from all over the continent and all over the world. It's now 10:16. So I'll give us about 30 minutes. We'll start with the photos, and then we can mingle during the tea break. I expect us to be back at 10:45. Thank you so much.